For a century, whenever the silver market entered a phase like this, it offered two paths. One for those who recognized the signals early, and one for those who only understood once everything was finished. The real question isn't how high silver will go. The real question is, where will you be when this cycle ends? Someday, when you look back on this moment, you may remember exactly what you feel now, that the market is shifting in silence, that stories from warehouses, factories, and midnight cargo flights were all part of something larger. If you found this analysis useful, comment where you stand. Physical silver, paper silver, or just watching? And don't forget to subscribe. In the coming months, changes may unfold so quickly that missing even a single day could mean falling behind an entire historical cycle. When we were children, many of us played musical chairs. Music played, everyone laughed, and walked in circles. But the moment the music stopped, the mood changed. People lunged, scrambling for a seat. No one said it, yet everyone knew someone wouldn't make it. The silver market is at that exact moment. For years, the music played gently. Prices moved gradually. Paper contracts multiplied endlessly. Everyone assumed there were enough chairs, enough silver for everyone. But reality is different. Phase 3 is when the music stops. Quietly, unannounced, lease rates surge. Reserves fall. Price gaps widen. In that silence, the sharpest traders already know the game is no longer safe. A veteran New York trader said he could feel it in his palms, a tingling he always gets before a major market event. He said those who still think there's time left simply haven't noticed that the last chair is sliding away. We are in that moment right now. Not panic awareness. A cold realization of scarcity. The question is no longer whether the game will end. It's who will have a chair when it does. If you continue, you'll see what awaits as the market moves from phase 3 into full breakout. Right now, in a corner of an industrial zone in Shanghai, a warehouse manager stands silently inside a vast space that once echoed with the sound of metal. He looks across the empty shelves where silver bars used to be stacked from floor to ceiling. For years, he had grown accustomed to seeing tons of silver being lifted every day, like the steady breathing of the market. But today, that breath has nearly stopped. From more than 5,000 tons, only a few hundred remain. The number sends a chill down his spine. Outside the warehouse, the engines of cargo planes roar. Shipments are being rushed out not by sea as usual, but by air, as though time itself is running out. Drivers rush back and forth. Pilots sign paperwork within seconds before sprinting back to their cockpits. Everyone looks tense, as if they understand that what they're transporting is not just silver, but something becoming scarcer every single day. The warehouse manager turns around and looks at the empty spaces between the racks. He wonders what would happen if the world truly ran out of silver. Would machines stop? Would massive industries still run? And what would happen to those who weren't prepared? That is the question that opens today's story. If you stay until the end, you'll understand why this warehouse isn't just a story from Shanghai, but a warning for the entire world. To understand what is forming right now, we must revisit moments in history when the world reached its breaking point. Strangely, every time this happened, silver became the center of the storm, not because it was precious, but because in chaos, silver reflects human fear, hope, and desperation. In 1933, during the Great Depression, Americans lined up outside banks across the nation. They brought their last savings, old coins, inherited gold bars, fearing they would lose everything. When President Roosevelt ordered gold to be surrendered, people felt as if a part of their lives had been taken. But few noticed what came next. The government began buying silver above market price. Silver nearly tripled within 2 years. A miner in Colorado wrote in his diary that he had never seen the metal so desperately sought after. Nearly 40 years later, in 1971, President Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility into gold. Many Americans watched the announcement on small TV screens, unaware a new financial era had begun. Markets reacted sharply. Gold rose, but silver shocked the world. From barely above $1, it surged to nearly 50. Some blame the Hunt brothers, but the truth is that the trend had been building long before. Silver rose 37-fold. Then came 2008. The modern world believed it was too advanced to collapse until Lehman Brothers fell overnight. Images of employees leaving with cardboard boxes became symbols of fragility. People no longer trusted paper assets. They turned to physical metal. Silver rose from under $9 to nearly $50 in just 3 years. 3 cycles, 3 generations, 3 moments when global trust broke. And the pattern remained the same. Government intervention, monetary shifts, or financial shocks, forcing people to rediscover what holds real value. Today's cycle doesn't reflect just one of these events. It reflects all of them, all at once. If you continue, you'll see why the signs are converging with unprecedented force. In the metals market, there are signals the public never sees, but industry veterans recognize instantly. Over the past months, these signals have appeared all at once. In London, the global center for silver, lease rates jumped from under 1% to 39% per year. A broker with 25 years of experience said he had never seen rates exceed 10%. When they reached nearly 40%, he knew people were clinging to their silver as though they might never get it back. In Shanghai, the price gap between China and New York widened to more than $60 per ounce. An unmistakable message: physical silver is worth far more than paper silver. Meanwhile, warehouse reserves collapsed from over 5,000 tons to just 715. Workers said the empty floors felt eerie. It wasn't just a shortage, it felt like something essential had been removed from the global economy. Then the United States intervened, declaring silver a critical mineral. Analysts immediately understood this wasn't symbolic. It signaled Washington's recognition of a fragile supply chain. Some officials hinted at potential import tariffs. If enacted, silver prices could skyrocket overnight. For manufacturers, the fear isn't price, it's availability. A solar panel producer in Arizona said plainly, "I'm not worried prices will rise. I'm worried there won't be silver to buy." Individually, these signals don't cause panic. Together, they create a clear picture. The market is unstable, and change may strike faster than anyone expects. If you continue, you'll see how this crisis affects real people, not just market numbers. In the financial world, there are moments so quiet they pass unnoticed. Only later do people realize those moments were when everything began to change. Over the past few months, these signals have shown up more clearly than ever. In China, trading data reveals something strange. In just 1 month, more than 660 tons of silver were pushed into the international market, a volume never seen before. Logistics workers say silver containers left ports so quickly they didn't even have time to rest. One supervisor shared that in his 10 years on the job, he had never seen any product line rushed out like this. Every day, he signed hundreds of documents, his hands trembling, because he knew those tons of silver were being sent to places desperate for supply. The largest destination is London. The city long, the global center of silver trading, is now facing an uncomfortable truth. Reserves are dropping faster than analysts predicted. Workers inside secure vaults say entire sections have been emptied. Many describe the atmosphere as standing inside a hall that used to buzz with activity but now echoes with silence. When silver is flown by air, when industrial companies pay extra to secure earlier delivery, when price gaps between markets grow wider, all the signs point to what analysts call Phase 3, the moment the music stops in a game of musical chairs. No announcement, no warning, just the sudden realization that there aren't enough chairs for everyone. The frightening part isn't that we weren't prepared. The frightening part is that most people don't even know the game has already begun. If you watch the next section, you'll understand what's draining global silver so quickly and why even veteran experts are worried. As the market tightens, the question everyone wonders but few say aloud is, how high could silver go? The answer is not speculation. It's written in history. Analysts now consider 3 realistic scenarios. The base case scenario expects silver to reach $90 to $100 per ounce by mid-2026. This happens if current trends continue: sustained physical deficits, U.S. tariffs on silver imports, and global factories stockpiling to secure supply. A manufacturing director in Germany said even at $100 they must buy, because without silver, they cannot produce anything. The second scenario is more dramatic. Silver climbs into the $120 to $170 range. This happens if paper markets fail to deliver, countries restrict exports, and investors rush into physical silver like the last chair in the game. A trader in Singapore said he saw this happen with nickel and palladium. When physical supply disappears, prices don't rise, they leap. The third scenario looks back at history. Adjusted for inflation, the 1,980 peak would equal $178 today. And despite repeating many of the same conditions, silver has not even approached its true inflation-adjusted high. A senior analyst in Chicago said markets never repeat perfectly, but they repeat in emotion. And today's emotion, for anyone who has followed silver for decades, is unmistakable. A silence before eruption. No one can say which scenario will happen. But all three are no longer imaginary, they grow closer every day. If you continue to the final part, you'll understand why this moment could be the defining turning point for anyone watching from the sidelines. Behind the data lies a story. Few see the story of a warehouse manager in Shanghai who has worked among silver bars for nearly 2 decades. For him, silver wasn't merely metal. It was routine, the pulse of the day, until everything changed. Now, every time he opens the warehouse door, he feels like he's entering a different place. Floors once filled with metal now reveal chilling, empty spaces. He recalls standing before racks that once held hundreds of tons, now reduced to a handful of crates. He froze, unable to believe it. But what disturbs him most are the phone calls. Dozens arrive daily. Factories pleading for delivery dates. Some calm, some trembling, some trying to hide their fear, all asking the same question: when will the silver arrive? A representative from a solar battery plant called late at night, nearly begging. They had enough materials for just 2 days of production. He feared telling hundreds of workers they might be sent home. An EV factory director said they would pay whatever it took, just deliver sooner. But the warehouse manager could only say the words he hated most: "We are out of stock." Every time he said it, something inside him fell. This crisis isn't just about metals. It's about people. People trying to keep factories alive, workers employed, and entire industries running. A young engineer once told him, "I'm not afraid of higher prices. I'm afraid of the day we have nothing left to make anything." These stories don't appear in price charts. Yet, they are the most real part of the crisis. And if you listen closely, you'll realize the world isn't just running out of silver, it's running out of time. If you continue, you'll see why the next phase is all about speed changes that can happen in an instant. A quiet shift is happening in global trade, something never seen before in the modern silver market. Silver, a heavy metal costly to transport, is now being flown by airplane. Cargo planes usually carry electronics, urgent medical supplies, or highly perishable goods. Now they carry pallets of silver bars. This isn't a choice. It's a sign that time has become too valuable. A logistics worker at Pudong Airport said he had never seen silver prioritized like this. Every time a crate is loaded, staff look tense, as if they're sending away something disappearing faster than anyone can admit. No one asks aloud, but everyone shares the same question: why must silver fly? The answer lies in the paper markets, where silver is not metal, but numbers. For years, the system worked under one assumption: not everyone would ask for physical delivery, so contracts multiplied beyond the actual metal backing them. Today, over 800 million ounces exist on paper, but only about 40 million ounces of real silver are available for delivery. A 20-to-1 leverage ratio. A veteran London trader said he had seen tense markets before, but never a gap this extreme. It feels like a bridge carrying many times the weight it was designed for, looking stable, yet one tremor away from collapse. And tremors have begun. Factories are demanding real silver, not cash settlements. Brokers stall. They offer incentives for customers to take money instead of metal. But some refuse. As one factory director said, "I can't operate a production line with cash. I need silver." If even 10% of paper holders request real delivery, the system breaks. The silver flights represent more than shortage. They reveal pressure, some hope the world won't notice. If you continue, you'll see how the signals form a single, undeniable warning. To understand why the world is facing the worst silver shortage in decades, we must step away from cold statistics and look at real life, where silver is not a shiny luxury, but the unseen foundation, keeping the modern world running. Picture a morning at a solar panel factory in southern China. A young engineer checks the production line while calculating the silver needed for today's output. He shakes his head. The remaining silver in inventory will only last a few more days. In the clean energy industry, silver is not optional. It is irreplaceable. Every gigawatt of solar power requires around 1 million ounces of silver. Last year alone, China installed over 250 gigawatts, consuming nearly one-third of the global energy sector's silver. But it doesn't stop there. In Europe, a technician at an electric vehicle factory says they try to reduce costs everywhere, but never silver. Each EV requires 1 to 2 ounces. It sounds small until you multiply it by millions of cars. The transition to clean energy must pass through silver, as if modern history is wired together by this bright metal. Even the things closest to our daily lives rely on it. Every 5G tower used for phone calls, every AI data center running algorithms, every technology powering the modern world, all depend on silver. A software engineer in California once joked that if silver disappeared, not only would his laptop die, but the AI-powered future would instantly vanish as well. But while demand grows relentlessly, supply doesn't. Global mining produces about 800 million ounces per year. This marks the 5th consecutive year of deficit. The frightening part lies in the silence of the data. No alarms, no warnings, just a widening gap between what the world needs and what the world can find. Silver cannot be synthesized in a lab. It cannot be replaced with something cheaper. It is the foundation of the technologies humanity is building for its future. Once you understand that, you see why vaults are emptying, why shipments leave in the middle of the night, and why the market feels like a stretched wire ready to snap. If you continue watching, you'll see that history has warned us 3 times before, and the same signals are repeating now, only stronger.